Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Treasure Peter. On today's tutorial, I'll be making this beautiful Ankara baggy pant, the trendy Ankara jumbo pant with elastic waistband and rope. Do well to watch to the end if it's something you're interested in, and do not forget to drop a like and also subscribe to the channel for more of these tutorials. Thank you. To make this pant, you'll be needing at least 2.5 yards of Ankara fabric or even 3 yards depending on your body size. Although I made use of 2 yards, I had to manage the fabric. For the waist, I'll be making use of this elastic. It's about 2 inches. So there are different types of elastic. I recommend this 2 inches. This one is actually almost 3 inches and it will be too big for the waist. The first thing I did was to place my fabric into two to cut the front part of the trouser. To determine how you're going to be folding it, go ahead and measure your hip measurements divided by 4 plus additional 7 inches. This actually also depends on what you want to achieve. If you want your trouser to be very wide, you can add up to extra 9 inches, but I think 7 inches is okay for mine. At this point, I'll just go ahead to cut it out. The next thing I did was to take the length of the trouser. I made it to be very long and I added additional 2 inches hemming allowance. So guys, I think the trouser will be fine now when it's very long. That is why I didn't take my normal trouser length. I added extra 2 inches before adding the 2 inches hemming allowance. So instead of 39 inches, I made use of about 43 inches. Then go ahead to mark the line to serve as the beginning line. So this is actually going to serve as the waist line as well as the starting line where we begin our measurements from. So the next thing we'll be doing now is to determine the crotch depth, and we are going to be using the hip measurements divided by 4. This is usually what I use for all my trouser. So most times I do not measure the crotch depth and I usually get a well-fitted pant. But because this is a baggy kind of trouser, I'm going to be adding additional 1 inch to the hip measurements divided by 4. So instead of my 9.5 inches, I'm making use of 10.5. So I added extra 1 inch because the trouser is free and not fitted. So I went ahead to mark it and also draw a straight line across. At the side, I proceeded to mark 1 inch allowance for sewing. So I went ahead to mark 1 inch from the up part to the down part and I drew a straight line to serve as the side seam allowance. So guys, on the crotch line, go ahead to measure your hip measurements divided by 4. That's your measurements from the 1 inch allowance. So I proceeded to measure mine, which was 9.5. I marked what I had, and then from there you're going to be adding additional 3 inches allowance. This is because it's a baggy trouser. You can actually use more than 3 inches. You can add up to 4, 5 or even 6 inches depending on how wide you want the trouser to be. Go ahead to measure the same thing you have and measure it on the waistline also, and then go ahead to connect a straight line from the waistline to the crotch line. The next thing we'll be doing is to take our crotch extension. So I usually use 2.5 inches for the front crotch extension, but for someone that is very big, I use 3 inches. Surprisingly, I actually have exactly 2.5 inches here. So I went ahead to mark it like so. In order to take the curve, the next thing I'll be doing is to mark 1 inch in this manner. Just go out by 1 inch. See the way I place my tape. I went ahead to mark what I had, and then you have to go up by about 2 inches. So I went up by 2 inches. I'm taking my time to explain this because of beginners. You can now use your armhole curve to connect the 3 lines together to form the crotch extension curve. And that's just it, guys. The next thing I'll go ahead to do now is to take how wide you want the round part of the trouser. So I just went ahead to mark the same thing from the crotch extension, but when it's around the knee line, I'm going to be measuring the same thing I have, but I'll subtract 1 inch from it. so this is just to give it a little bit of shape. So I'll just go ahead to mark it like that till the end, and then I'll just connect it from that crotch extension towards the angle, just like this. It's not something hard. So this is because the trouser is a baggy trouser. I'll go ahead to cut it out, and that'll be all for the drafting and cutting of the front. So right now I'll be cutting the back piece of the trouser. To determine the width of the fabric you'll be placing, go ahead to add additional 2 inches to what you added to the front. That means you'll be taking your hip measurements divided by 4 plus additional 9 inches. So guys, I proceeded to place the front on top of the back, and this is it. I made sure to align the side together, and I'm going to be leaving allowance at the upper part. I had to remove one of these so that the front side will be obvious. So guys, make sure you align the side, but for this other side I left allowance at the crotch extension side. So I'll be making use of 2 inches because I just have 2 inches there. So I decided to extend the back crotch extension by 2 inches, and I drew a straight line like so. So guys, for a normal fitted trouser, I usually extend it with 1.5 inch and 2 inches for someone that is on a bigger side, but because it's a baggy trouser, that is why I'm extending it with 2 inches. At this center, I'll be extending it out by 1 inch. Usually I extend it by 1.5 inch for fitted trousers. This is because I usually add my darts, but this one I'll not be adding any dart, so I extended it with 1 inch. And then I also marked the 1 inch down here and somewhere around, let's say 3 inches before the crotch extension, and then I went up by 1 inch also. This is usually good so that your trouser will not have that V shape at the center of the back, so it will be normal and well fitted at the back waistline. So the next thing I'm going to be doing right now is to extend the crotch extension for the back. Just watch the way I'm extending it. So I'm just meeting up with the crotch extension of the front and then connecting it to meet up with the back crotch extension. So this is just it. So the next thing I'll be doing right now is to connect in a slant form from that center of the back to meet up with the side seam allowance of the front. This is so it will align. So that is just it for the drafting of that upper part. For this side, we are going to extend the back by 1.5 inch. So I went ahead to extend it with 1.5 inch, and when I reach around the knee line, you can go ahead to measure your waist to knee so you know it. So when I reach around the knee line, I proceeded to mark 1 inch down to the end, and that is it guys. I'll just go ahead to cut it out. So guys, that is it for cutting the back side. I'll go ahead to place the front side to reduce the front waistline and cut the pocket. So go ahead to place the 2 front sides, and then at the waistline at the center part, the crotch part, I came down with 1/2 inch and connected it back to the allowance part. This is just to make it sit very well. So I went ahead to just cut it out. So right now, in order to take the pockets, I've gone ahead to cut 4 pieces of this fabric. So I did not have enough fabric, so I had to use lining to do the inner pocket. So the 4 pieces will be for the pocket. The length is about 12 inches and the width is about 9 inches. So one lining will be with this other material and the other lining will be with the other material. So first, let's go ahead to measure the pocket area on the front piece. Note the pocket area will be around the side, so at the side go out by 1 inch because that was the allowance that we used, and then come in by 2 inches. You can use 1.5, 3 inches or even 2.5. Then for the length of my pocket, I made use of 7 inches, and then I'm going to still mark the 1 inch seam allowance and then from that point I'm going to just draw a slant line to connect with the upper part. I proceeded to cut it out. So guys, I went ahead to use this lining part to cut out as the facing. The reason why I'm using the lining part is so that it will hide. If you have enough fabric, you can use your fabric to cut it out. Take note of how I'm aligning it. I made sure to start from the up part, and then I'm trimming out the excesses and cutting the pocket opening. After cutting it out, I just had to place it to trim and make sure that it aligns very well, so I had to trim the excesses at the edges. Then I proceeded to just place this other part like this in order to make sure that it aligns also, and I went ahead to cut out the edges and trim out the excesses. So guys, take note of the 1 inch allowance part because that's where the joining will start from. I had to place a notch on it, so I'll use it to place on this other side, and also make sure to place the notch and trim it to align also. So that's it for the cutting of this pocket. So guys, it's time to start sewing. This trouser is actually very simple to make. It won't take you up to 30 minutes to sew. First thing you do is to join the center part and stop it at 1/2 inch before the end. This is how I usually join my trouser. So I went ahead to mark it so you will see. So I'm joining it with 1/2 inch and I'll stop it at the end. I'll do the same thing to the back piece. I'm going to also join the center from the up part and then stop it at 1/2 inch before the end. So I'll go ahead to do that off the camera. Here is it guys, after joining it. This is the back piece after joining it, and I left 1/2 inch allowance at the end. As you can see, I did the same thing to the front piece. Now it's time to fix the pocket. So the pocket is very easy to make. First, you go ahead to use this facing part and join it with 1/2 inch using your hemming gum. The reason why you use your hemming gum is so you have a very neat finishing at the facing part. So I'll go ahead to join it. Just follow the line like this and join it till the end. I'll do that off the camera and show you guys what I have. Here is it guys. After joining it, I went ahead to notch it. Place a notch especially at this part, and then place a notch all around. After placing the notch, I'll just take it to iron it very well in order to hide the facing. Here is it guys. After ironing it, as you can see, it's looking very neat and the facing is hidden because of the hemming gum. The next thing you go ahead to do is to place this other one. Take note of this notch area is going to be at the side, so go ahead to place it on the other facing, and you just turn it over and join it at this part. Just go ahead to join it in at this up part and the down part, and then you attach it to the up part and the side. So guys, I'll join the both pockets of the camera and show you guys what I have. Here is it after joining them. See how neat the pocket is looking. You go ahead to weave it so it will look very neat. So if you have a weaving machine, this is the best point for you to do all your weavings. The next thing we are going to do is to close the trouser. So I went ahead to place the back on the front, right side facing each other, and I'm going to start by joining the crotch part. So remember the 1/2 inch that we left here. You're going to start from that 1/2 inch to join at the other side, the front side to the back side. Just go ahead to join it with 1/2 inch or even 1 inch is okay down. So I'll do the same thing to this other side, and I'm going to also go ahead to join the sides. At this point, I'm going to join the two sides with my 1 inch sewing allowance, and then I'll show you guys what I have. So guys, after joining it, here is it. If you check this part, you're going to see a little hole. You have to go ahead to close it up at this point. So I went ahead to bring it out to the right side. So that is it for the sewing of this down part. The next thing I'm going to be sewing is the waistband. So you go ahead to measure round to know your waist measurement, what you're having right now. This is not the actual waist measurement, but because we'll be using elastic, it's going to fit So I went ahead to just measure around to know what my waist measurement gave me, and I had about 50 inches. I went ahead to also measure and get my 50 inches on the waistband. So the length of this waistband is about 51 inches and the width is about 5 inches. It's actually about 5.5 inches. It's more than 5 inches. So we are actually trying to achieve about at least 2.5 or 2 inches for the waistband, because we are going to be folding it into two. So first thing I'm going to go ahead to do will be to fold it in to iron it. So we'll fold it to iron it into two, and then I'm going to fold one side also and iron the one side already. So I will fold in one side to iron it. That side will be the front side of the waistband. I'll fold it with 1/2 inch and iron it and fold it into two. Make sure you keep allowance for joining, don't reach the end. So I'll do that off the camera and show you guys what I have. So guys, here is it after I was done ironing it. Like I told you, this is it. I folded it with 1/2 inch and I left 1/2 inch at this other side. So at this point you have to really pay attention, because this is where the work is. So I'm going to be joining this waistband together at the center. So in order to join the waistband together, note that this inner part is the front side, the side where I have folded is the front side. So in order for you to join it, we are going to keep an hole in the front side so that our rope will pass through it. So what you do, just divide it into two and mark the center of the band. Note we are not reaching the end because that other side is the back. So I divided mine into two and I had to just place it like this and mark a chalk at the center. I will do the same thing to this other side. I'm taking my time to explain this because it can be a little bit tricky. So after marking the chalk at those two center, I'm going to go up by 1/2 inch and come down by 1/2 inch on both sides. So just go ahead to measure 1/2 inch down, 1/2 inch one. I think 1 inch is okay for the whole of the rope. So just go ahead to measure it like that and mark it on both sides. After marking it, I went ahead to notch the two sides. That is the 1 inch allowance that I have kept, 1/2 inch down and 1/2 inch up. So the next thing I'll be doing right now is to join it with at least 1 inch. Note I actually added extra 2 inch to the actual waist measurements I got. So I'll be joining it with 1 inch. Just go ahead to join it from the notch part down to the notch part up. So I went ahead to open it up first before doing that, and I just marked the chalk for you to see what I'm doing. Sorry, I just marked this chalk to be very close. It was actually very close because you know we need to hem it. So guys, I'll advise that you go in with up to 1 inch. Mine was just 1/2 inch, which means that you're going to add additional 2 inches to your actual waist measurement for the band, and not just 1/2 inch, because we need to also fold it in at the opening part. So I'll go ahead to just join them together. So guys, I hope you understand my explanation. So I'll do that off the camera and show you guys what I have. Here is it after joining it. Like I said before, I'll advise that you join it with up to 1 inch. So here is the hole. I feel mine wasn't really up to 1 inch, but I think your hole should be up to 1 inch so that your rope will pass freely. So at this point, you can go ahead to open up that whole part and just join it on your machine. This is just to make sure that it is well secured, and that's why I asked you to use up to 1 inch while joining. So I'll go ahead to sew it on my machine like this. So guys, the next thing we'll be doing right now is to attach the elastic. And for you to know how to attach the elastic, I had to use your waist measurement, your actual waist measurement, and subtract 1 inch or 2 inches from it to get your elastic width. At this point, if you like, you can go ahead to attach the elastic, but I did not attach mine. I'm going to show you how I did mine, but if you want to attach it, it's still very okay. So the first thing you're going to do now to know how to attach the elastic is this part where there is a joining is the center front. You're going to fold your band into two and make sure to take note of the center front. You can mark inwards. This is so you'll be able to know where exactly the line is, and go ahead to also mark the same thing on this side. This side is going to be where the back will be, and the next thing you go ahead to do is to also fold it into 2 again. This is making it into 4, and mark the sides. So this is the side, and mark the other inner side also. The reason why I'm doing all these markings is so that you know how to drag your elastic so they will align. We are also going to do the same markings on the elastic, because if you just put it arbitrarily, you are not going to have an evenly distributed share of the elastic. So guys, I went ahead to also mark on the elastics. So I marked on the center back as well as the side of the elastic, and then the part that has the opening is going to be the front automatically. So now to fix the elastic, go ahead to start from the front side and just attach it from where the hole is. Make sure that you place it around the whole part of the front, because you'll be sewing it twice. The first part will be where the hole starts from, and the second part will be where the hole ends. So you can go ahead to just pin it down and take it to sew it on your machine. So don't mind me, at this point I did not hem the whole part. You need to hem it at this point before inserting the elastic. So guys, if you wish to join the elastic first before inserting it, it's still going to be very okay. Anyhow you want to do it, it's still going to be very okay. So while pinning it, make sure that where the chalk is aligned. That means you're going to be dragging your elastic to align with the side part, to align with the side, and the back part to align with the back. So that was what I was trying to do here while pinning it down. I hope this was clear. If you have any question, drop it on the comment section and I will do well to reply. So guys, after reaching the end, you can choose to just join your elastics together. It's still going to be very okay. I ended up joining the elastic together before sewing on it. So the part you have to note is that you will be having 2 stitches. The first stitch will be from one side of the hole to the end of the other side of the hole, well the second stitch will be at the upper part of the hole to the other side of the hole too. I don't know if you really got this explanation. Sorry, I did not really show you the illustration with my hand, but I'm going to show you the finished work so you understand what I'm trying to explain. And you're going to fold it in while sewing it. You're going to just sew it on top and just keep dragging the elastic while sewing it so it aligns. So guys, here is it when I was done sewing on it. If you take a closer look, you're going to notice 2 stitches. The middle point of the stitch is the whole part, and it is where our rope is going to pass through. So this is the hole, and this is where we'll insert our rope and also bring it out to the other side. I hope you guys understood this. If you have any question, do well to drop it on the comment section. So guys, here is the rope that I'll be using to pass through it. I have gone ahead to sew it. I made it about 60 inches long, and I'm going to be using my broomstick to actually bring it out from one hole to the other. I think the broomstick is the best way. Initially I wanted to use this safety pin, but it was very hard for me to pass it through, so I had to make use of the broomstick. I went ahead to put the broomstick in between one end of the beginning part of the rope, and I used my thread to just tie it round, and then I had to insert it from one end of this hole to the other end. So guys, if you've watched up to this point and this video was of value to you, do well to drop a like. The like will really help YouTube to push this video to other people that will be interested in watching it. And please don't forget to subscribe and also turn on your notification bell so that whenever I drop more videos, you'll be notified and you will watch them. Thank you so much. So guys, here is it when I was done. The next thing we are going to do is to attach it. Make sure that the front side aligns with the center front of your trouser. So go ahead to attach the back side of the band to the back side of the trouser, just like this, and then you are going to take it to the machine, just sew it round. There is no way it won't align if you got the actual waistband. Here is it guys. After joining it, the final thing we are going to do is to just top stitch on the front side. This is the reason why we folded in and ironed the front side with 1/2 inch from the beginning. So go ahead to top stitch round, and I'll also go ahead to hem the down part with my 2 inches hemming allowance. So guys, this is the final look of the trouser. Our trouser is ready and so beautiful. The good part of this trouser is that you can wear it without dragging the rope, and you're still going to have a perfect fit because the elastic was actually our actual waist measurement. So guys, here is it. I'll go ahead to make this place to look neat, and that is it for the making of this trouser. Thank you so much for watching. If you've watched up to the end, don't forget to drop a like and don't forget to subscribe, please. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you for watching till the end. So here's the trouser when I tried it on. See how it's looking so beautiful and so unique. So guys, see you in my next tutorial. Bye for now.